Hey, Ruan here from TunnelvizionTV, and in today's tutorial I'm going to show you guys how to do some awesome cloth simulations using 3ds Max. So let me just maximize this viewport, and I'm going to quickly set up a very basic scene just to show you guys the basics first. So I'm going to create a plane, and let's create a box in the middle somewhere, and then we're going to create our cloth. So I'm going to create another plane, something like that, and just move it up so it's above our cube. And then we're going to apply some modifiers to these. So first of all, make sure that you have your MassFX toolbar here at the top. If you don't have it, you can basically just right click here and make sure that your MassFX toolbar is ticked. So with your plane at the top selected, the one above the box, we're going to click on this little shirt, and you can also just hold in and make sure that you set it to set selected as mCloth object, and that will apply that modifier to it. And then we're going to click on the box, and we're going to set that to a set selected as static rigid body, okay, because it's not going to move around, or we're not going to apply any dynamics to that. So basically let's apply something to the floor as well. So click on the plane that is basically the floor, and we're going to apply the static rigid body modifier to that as well. So that's the basic setup how to do a cloth simulation. And if we click on this start simulation button, you'll see that we have a very basic cloth. Now that's not really looking that great because we didn't set some properties, so I'm going to just cancel that. And with our cloth selected, I'm going to click on the plane properties, and I'm going to increase the length and width segments of this cloth. So let's make it 50 and 50, and I'm going to delete the mCloth modifier. So let's just delete that, and then we're going to apply it again. So now you can see it's got all these little blocks. So that's all the segments that we set up on that plane. And with that plane selected, I'm going to go to the shirt again and set selected as mCloth object. And now we're going to run the simulation again. So let's click on start simulation, and let's see what happens. Okay, so that's looking a lot better, and because we've got all those segments, that's why we're getting a more realistic cloth simulation. Right, so let's just stop that. And so that's basically how you set up a cloth simulation that looks cool. But let me show you guys how to do something a little bit more advanced. Okay, so I'm going to start by deleting my cloth, and I'm going to leave the floor and the box in the middle. And I'm going to create another box, something like that. And I'm going to move it up a little bit. And then I'm going to apply a very basic animation to this box. So I'm going to click on auto key at the bottom, go to frame 100, and I'm just going to move it over so it goes over this box in the center. So let's switch off the auto key, and if I scrub through this, you'll see we've got that very basic animation. So if we look at it from this angle, you see that it will go over that box. Okay, now we're going to create our cloth. So I'm going to create another plane, something like that. So as you can see, this cloth has a lot of segments, 50-50. It's because we set the previous one to those settings, and it will actually use that as the default setting, which is perfect. Okay, so next I'm going to rotate my cloth. So I'm going to enable snapping so that I can rotate it 90 degrees. Okay, there we go, something like that. And I'm just going to decrease the size of this plane a little bit. Something like that should be fine. And then I'm going to move it so it's actually attached to this box. Something like that. Okay. And then I'm going to use this select and link option to link my cloth to this animated box. So I'm going to click on this button here, and I'm going to click and drag from the cloth to this box. And basically, if I scrub through this, you'll see that our cloth is now stuck to that box. So next I'm going to apply a cloth modifier to this plane. So I'm going to click on the shirt and go to set selected as mCloth object. And before we can simulate this, we need to actually freeze some of these vertices right at the top that's attached to this animated box. So to do this, you need to expand this mCloth modifier here on the side, click on the plus, and then click on vertex. And basically that's going to enable you to select some vertices that you can create groups and that you can freeze. So I'm going to drag a box just around the top section of this cloth, and you'll see it will be selected. It will actually show red. I don't know if you can see this on the video, but with those vertices selected, I'm going to click on make group, and then you can give it a name, but I'm just going to leave it as default, and I'm going to click on OK. And then with that group selected, I'm going to click on preserve, and that's basically just going to freeze those vertices that's attached to this box. So we've got that animation, and it's not going to apply any cloth simulation to those vertices. Alright, so let me show you how that works. So if I click on simulate now, let's see what happens. Okay, so now you can see that the plane or the cloth is actually sticking to that animated box at the top, and we're getting our simulation here in the center where it's moving over this box, which is looking pretty good. And yeah, there you go, you've got a basic cloth simulation with some animation as well. So next I'm going to show you guys how you can add some forces to your scene. So I'm going to go to my create tab, and then I'm going to click on the space warps tab here at the top, and then I'm going to click on wind to create some wind in our scene. So I'm just going to drag out a wind operator, and then I'm going to rotate it so it's actually blowing this way. So with the wind selected, I'm going to go into the modify panel, and then I'm going to change the strength to about, let's change it to about 3. Okay, and then I'm going to click on my cloth again, and then you need to tell your cloth modifier which forces to actually use. So yeah, under forces you can click on add, and then I'm going to click on my wind force, and you'll see that it will show your wind force applied to that cloth. Alright, so let's simulate that again. And now I can actually see that it's being blown by the wind, so it's going crazy. And yeah, it's looking quite cool. It's still interacting with the box and with the scene, and it's also still attached to this box here at the top, so it's actually animating as well, which is pretty cool. Alright, so let's just cancel that again. Okay, another thing that I want you to know is if you select your cloth and you go into the cloth properties here at the bottom, under physical fabric properties, this is where you can change the properties of your fabric. So the gravity, density, stretchiness, bendiness, and damping and friction and all those kind of things. You can all set that, all those settings. You can change it here, and then you can also save some presets. If you want to save a specific material preset, you can always load it later. So you just click on save, give it a name, and then next time you can just go to load, and then you can load it up. So as you can see here, the default preset is set to cotton, and yeah, that's just how you can save some presets for later use, which is pretty good. Alright, so let's say you are happy with your simulation and you want to bake it into your scene. You will basically just have to open your MassFX tools, and then on the second tab you can click on bake all. So I'm going to click that now, and then it's basically just going to create some keyframes right through your timeline. So let's just give it a few seconds. Okay, and once that's done, we can close this MassFX tools down, and then if you scrub through your timeline, you'll see that you've got the animation baked in, and you've got keyframes for all the animations in your scene, which is pretty damn cool. Cool, so I hope you guys enjoyed this very quick cloth simulation tutorial for 3ds Max, and let me know if you guys want to see more of these types of tutorials on my channel, and also remember to click on that subscribe button if you want to be notified of any new tutorials, which will be coming out every week. So yeah, thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Cheers, bye.
Flash.